In this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about using the Waymo app and ordering a Waymo ride. First things first, let's pull up the app. So we're going to go to Waymo. Boom, there it is. Very similar to Uber and Lyft. I'm going to enter in an address of a place I want to go to. It comes, picks me up, and drops me off. Now you can see right at the top, it says your car can arrive in 16 minutes. At least at the exact time of this video, Waymo is relatively new. And in addition, I am in Los Angeles. So this may be shorter or longer depending on where you are. Now, let's say I want to go to, you can see these are the places I've gone to recently. So let's say if I want to order a Waymo ride, I can type in June Shine, for example. Great bar here in LA. Click June Shine. Now, once I do, you can see my pickup locations right there. I'm going to be picked up in about 12 minutes. And down here under your trip, I can see a couple different things. One is 4 people maximum. You can see right here, 4 people max when it comes to ordering a Waymo ride. Trunk space for 2 carry-on bags. Bring a car seat for kids. Unlock with the app. Pretty easy to do once you order the Waymo. In addition, I can see my trip right here, of course, of where I'm being picked up to where I'm being dropped off. I can add a stop if I want to. Make stops along the way. Let's say I need to stop at CVS for something, or I need to pick one of my friends up. I can easily do that as well. And then all I'm going to do to order is click Request Car. I'm not going to do that because obviously I don't need it right now. I'm just doing it for this video. And lastly, right here, I have different payment methods. Now, I will say my credit card is blacked out for obvious reasons, but this is how I can pay for the Waymo ride, whether I want to use Apple Pay or adding a credit card. Lastly, let's look at the pricing. So right down here, you can see it's $13.03. If I click that, you can see trip pricing. We base the price of the trip on the most direct route. Even if the car reroutes in an unexpected way, the cost to you won't change for that trip. And that's good, right? Because if you're taking a Waymo, it's not like you have a human driver where you can say, hey, can you go this route or this route? The Waymo kind of does what it does, right? So even if, let's say, there is something that pops up and you take a more circuitous route, you don't have to worry about being charged more once you order the ride at that exact price. Of course, though, keep in mind, if I do add a stop, it is going to be a bit more expensive, which makes sense. In addition to ordering, here's the current map right now. So when it comes to Waymos, maybe in a few years this will not exist, but at least at the exact time of this video, depending on where you are, if I go to the actual map, you can see this is the area that I can order the Waymo to. So let's say I want to go from where I am right now to, let's say, El Segundo or Manhattan Beach. The Waymos don't go there, at least not yet, at least at the exact time of this video. So when you do go to order a Waymo, keep in mind, depending on your area and where you are and the timing of how popular Waymo is continuing to get, it may be possible that when you go to zoom out, you're like, oh shoot, I want to go to, let's say, El Segundo to go to the Purple Orchid, which is a great bar. Unfortunately, you can't do that yet. You have to be picked up and dropped off in this exact specific area. Next, let's talk about some features in the app. So first off, like I said, I can add home, add work. So let's say my home is, I don't know, I'm just going to enter in somewhere random. Let's say I live in Venice. I'll put in the Windward Plaza. I can click this, click Save Home, and boom. Now, when I want to go home to the Windward Plaza, or let's say the area that my home's in, I click Home, and when I'm going to do that, boom, it's bringing me home. I can also do this for work, as you can see, and I can also add a favorite. So let's say I want to put my friend's place, let's say a particular spot I go to a lot, etc., etc. Next, I have a few different menu options at the bottom. So first off is feedback. Going right here, you can see that I can basically give feedback, good or bad. I can go into more detail, provide some images. Next, I have support. So let's say if something goes wrong during the ride or after the ride, I can chat, email, or call them. This is very important. Let's say if you leave your phone in the car, let's say something's going wrong. Let's say you just have to notify them about something. You have support right here. Last, but definitely not least, we can go to the account settings. So first off, I have favorites. Like I showed you before, I can add work, add a favorite, and adjust my home or add a home if you've not done so yet. Next, I have trip history. These are the places I've gone to recently, right? Pretty self-explanatory. I can see all the recent trips of where I got picked up, where I got dropped off, the time of the ride, the price. Next is payment. As you can imagine, this is how you pay for the rides. So you can add a credit card or use Apple Pay using this right here. Then I have offers and promotions. When it comes to this is more of like different codes. Let's say if you get a special deal where they give you 50% off for a ride for whatever reason, this is how you can redeem the codes within the app. Next, I have notifications. This is pretty self-explanatory when it comes to any phone or any kind of device where do you want to get ride notifications? Do you want to get promotions in terms of, hey, for this weekend, we're offering 10% off Waymos for whatever reason. Next, let's go to accessibility. This is a big one. If let's say you need a specific feature or thing in general. So for example, first off, you can see right here, I have wheelchair accessible vehicle. So receive only wheelchair accessible vehicles with a driver. So if I need that, I can turn this on. And now when I order one, I will get a wheelchair accessible vehicle. Next is descriptive audio. Plays audio cues in the car that describe what's happening during your ride and where to find controls. This can be very helpful as well to hear that descriptive audio out loud. And then lastly, minimize walking time. So what's interesting about Waymo is sometimes they'll drop you off kind of close to your destination and it might be a 2-second walk. It's not going to be this, half a mile, super far long walk, but sometimes they're like, hey, given the route, we're going to drop you off at the corner and the place you want to get to actually is on the next block over or something like that. So you can minimize the walking time. When possible, shorten walk at pickup and drop off, including preventing the need to cross the street. A shorter walk may mean a longer ride overall. So the ride might be a bit longer if you have this turned on. Let's say for whatever reason, you have a difficult time walking and you want to be as close as possible to the drop off. But I remember the first time I took a Waymo, it dropped me off like about a block away from the place I was going to. And I was like, oh, it's not right in front of it because it was a very busy street. So maybe for like safety reasons, it's going to drop me off at the corner and I have to walk around the corner. Not too bad, but keep in mind, like I said, if you are trying to minimize the walking distance, this is something that you can turn on. Next is music. This one's pretty cool that if I go here, you can see allow Waymo to link to your Google account to play and control audio from your phone. So you can do this right from your phone. You can be your own kind of personal DJ, so to speak. In addition, I play ambient music automatically. So listen to an instrumental playlist curated by Waymo on every ride. This one you could turn on. I don't really like this one because I feel like you can change it during the ride anyway, so I will say that. It's not like when you put this on, it's set in stone and you're stuck with ambient music, but you can turn on this one if you want. And lastly, I can manage my iHeart stations. So like if I want to add in a particular artist or radio or genre or whatever, right now, just for fun, I put my own because I am an artist in case you didn't know. So I have my own right there because I was like, hey, why not add my own just kind of for fun? But I can manage them. So like if I want to add everything from like say EDM, I can just do this real quick. I can put EDM beats. And then in addition, I can also type in like a particular artist or song. So I might do, let's do Justice, because I just saw them live with a bowl. And let's do like Genesis, great song. So I can do this, click Genesis Radio, and boom. Now I'm locked in, all good to go. And then lastly, we have preferences. So if I click this, you're gonna see first off, show suggestions, recommends destinations based on your ride history. I have this off, you can keep it on if you want, but I feel like it more suggests random places that you might want to go to. I don't find this is as necessary, but you can turn it on if you want. Next, I have theme. I know this is a big thing for a lot of people when it comes to most apps. Do I want to be in light mode, which is what I'm in right now, dark mode, or automatic? So it adjusts the appearance to match the system. Then I have the temperature. Do I want to be Fahrenheit or Celsius? Pretty self-explanatory as well. And then lastly, sleep. Keep screen from sleeping while waiting for a ride. I actually suggest turning this on because as you're ordering the ride, you want to make sure that your screen doesn't turn off. You don't want to miss anything just in case. I suggest having this one on. And lastly, let's talk about one interesting thing about the app. Now, I've showed you a lot about how to use it, the features, the functionality. You order it very similar to an Uber and a Lyft. That's the best way to think of it. However, the car is self-driving. It's kind of trippy, to be honest, the first time you take one. And you can see right here that there's one important piece of information. That is cameras on, mics off. So let's go to this. Here's the way it works when you're in the car, because obviously it's just you, right? There's nobody else in the car unless you have friends with you. There are cameras inside of the car. Cameras are a way to make sure your ride goes smoothly. We want to make sure that the cars are clean. You find lost items, provide help in case of emergency, check that the car and rules are being followed, improve products and services. I heard about one story, for example, on Reddit. Well, remember, you can have 4 people maximum. This one person fit 5 people in the car, started driving, and I think they said like 3 minutes later, the car pulled over and they're like, hey, you have to leave. We checked the cameras. We saw that you had 5 people in the car, not just 4. Unfortunately, the ride has to end. So they can see what you're doing in the car. Just keep that in mind. When it comes to microphones, however, though, the microphones inside the car are never active unless support is called during a ride. So let's say 911 or an emergency. So the microphones are not turned on, only the cameras are, and the microphones are only turned on, let's say if it's an emergency or in case something is going wrong. Being honest, like I said, when it comes to using the Waymo app, it is pretty easy and pretty straightforward. And I like that it's a very simplistic layout when it comes to the app. very similar to Uber and Lyft. Now, I do want to say, at least at the exact time on this video, there are a couple of different things to keep in mind. One, Waymo is still so new, so you might not even have it in your city. Like, I know it's in Los Angeles, Phoenix, etc., but it is still so new and it's always updating. The second thing is the actual area, like I showed you earlier, of where you can get picked up and dropped off. Right now in LA, it's decently big. It's not bad, but it's not full on, right? Like I said, I might be able to be picked up in my location, but not dropped off in another location. And then thirdly, and this is another one that might change, we'll have to see in the future, is there are no premium options. Right now, when you order a Waymo, it is Waymo. That's it. Very similar to when Uber and Lyft first started out. However, let's say you're like, shoot, Mark, I don't have 4 people with me. I have 5. Can I get a Waymo XL, for example, similar to Uber and Lyft? No. There's only one Waymo. That's it. This will probably change in the future. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they start unveiling, bigger Waymos to have more people in them and stuff like that. But I gotta say, when it comes to using the app, it is pretty trippy the first time you use it. I still remember the first time I used it, and it's weird, right? In the passenger seat, seeing the car move on its own, the wheel turning on its own. It kind of felt like a real-life Black Mirror episode because I had people coming up to me, taking photos and videos of me because I was sitting in the passenger seat with no one driving. Well, no one driving, technically. It's the AI or the car itself. And people were blown away because it is kind of trippy and kind of weird. And last thing I want to say on this video, which has been an interesting trend I've been noticing. You may be wondering, okay, well, this costs money, of course, like anything. How does it compare to Uber and Lyft? And here's what's interesting. In the beginning, I noticed Waymo was always more expensive than Uber and Lyft. Sometimes it was only a couple bucks more, but it was always more expensive. Now that is starting to be not the case. I know, maybe not the best news for a lot of my rideshare drivers out there, but it is becoming the case I've noticed where sometimes I'm like, oh wow, Waymo's actually cheaper than Lyft, but more expensive than Uber, right? So it's kind of halfway between them. There's been other times I'm like, wait, Waymo's cheaper than both Uber and Lyft. And I say that because I know for a lot of people, when they typically order a ride, they're like, okay, let's pull up Uber, let's pull up Lyft. Which one's cheaper? Let's go with that one. But now it's probably going to be the case, and now it is for me, will I pull up Uber and Lyft and Waymo and see, okay, which one's actually cheaper? Because as time has been going on, as technology improves, not only will Waymo have more features, not only will the pickup and drop-off area be bigger, but also the price is now going down tremendously, which could mean that Waymo could be the cheapest option available.